Wow, it's actually not like burning out. Don't get me wrong, it's still definitely hot, but like compared to how hot Florida normally is, it's actually pretty good right now. So, this also doesn't look like the picture, but there is a path. All right, I'm not gonna lie, this is like a little sketch. Hey, this looks more like the picture. Alligator may be present on trail. That's nice. Welcome to, whoa, that's a big bug. Welcome to Clear Lake Nature Park, and that's where we're gonna be. Oh, there's a lot of water over there. That's really frustrating. Yeah, your boy was not prepared for this. All right, you guys are doing errands with me, and I'm hungry, so we're gonna get some food, and I decided it'd be kind of a fun idea to race Chick-fil-A's drive-thru line. I'm gonna see how many hands that I can cover while I'm waiting in the drive-thru line for my food. So let's get right into it. All right, so the race already isn't going that well. We just paid for our food, so yeah. But first hand, we're gonna get into here. We've got 9-10 of hearts in the small blind, facing an under the gun straddle and 2 limps. I decide to limp behind, the big blind folds, and the straddler checks their options. So 4 ways out of position to a flop that comes not bad for us, as we find Jack 8-5. I decide to check the check call line for this hand. I check, the under the gun straddler bets 30. There's a call and a fold, and I close the action with a call. 3 of us now to the turn, and not only does it not improve us, but doesn't give us any more equity, as it's the biggest brick you could imagine. I check, there's a bet of 50 and a call, and once again, I close the action and call. Really hoping we can hit it one time, but unfortunately we don't. I think it's an ace. I check fold to a bet, and one of the players wins with top 2 pair. We get a seat change to view the entire table in all of its glory, and that's also when we find 3-5 of spades on the button facing a cutoff raise to 15. That's certainly a price I can vibe with, so I call, as does the small blind. 3 ways in position to a flop that comes kind of uninteresting. It's Jack 9 deuce with 2 clubs. Checks to me, and with just some backdoor draws, I'm gonna check here too. The turn is one of the sauciest cards you can imagine. It's the 6 of spades. We go from nothing to a straight flush draw. It checks to me, and I decide to take a stab at the pot, bet 30. Surprisingly, that gets the job done, as everyone folds. So, feels good to win a pot after losing the first one. 3-5 is one of those hands that I really like to goof around with. What hand do you really like to goof around with? Leave it in the comments below. Alrighty, I'm gonna take a minute to eat my chicken sandwich before we go run some errands, but while I do, we've got a really big and kind of long hand to cover, so here we go. Okay, to start off this hand, from party trash to premiums, we've got the black queens in the small blind facing a button straddle. 10 isn't gonna be enough to go. We make it 60. Now, I think seat 1 says it best here.
I think this table's getting loosened up a little bit.
Yeah, you get mad respect when you raise it.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, sure do. We get 4 callers. So we're going to a massive multi-way bloated pot out of position with $300 already in the middle to a board about which we certainly can't complain. Comes Jack 9-7. Although we still have our overpair, I don't really feel super confident betting 1 pair into 4 people in this big of a pot, so I check for pot control. Checks all the way around to the cutoff, who bets 130. Definitely not going anywhere for this price. I call, as does one other player. 3 ways now, and the turn comes a king. It's not the greatest card, but it's not really the worst card either, as our opponents shouldn't really have many kings here, unless it's exactly king jack, or maybe some light king 9s. Nevertheless, I decide to check, and this time it checks around. The river is a 10. Again, we check with 1 pair, and it checks all the way around, and the cutoff announces they have a straight. It was at this moment I took a look at the board one last time and realized that I had a straight. So I turned my hand over and announced straight, at which point we actually win the pot, beating the cutoff 7-8 for the straight to the jack with our straight to the king. You know, I really don't know if we could have gotten much more value from either opponent. However, it sure as hell feels pretty dumb not betting on that river. Wow, counting is very hard. I should put that on a shirt. You guys want that on a shirt?
Alrighty, it's target time, baby. All right, the sound quality is gonna be a little bit worse because I'm not bringing my microphone into target with me. because, you know, because I don't know, because that feels weird. Because there's lots of people. But let me know in the comments whether you like Walmart or Target more. We're going to Target today because it was closer to the Chick-fil-A. I mean, I don't know. Undoubtedly best cookie. So it really didn't even occur to me until I got in here that I didn't really know what I needed, if I needed anything. I was just trying to kind of make video ideas. So yeah, we can do a hand real quick. So an exact orbit later in the small blind facing another button straddle, we've got a significantly worse hand. Actually, James and I joke that this is the worst hand in the game, but nevertheless, we still go to try to make it work anyway and make it 50 to go. We get 2 callers, heads up out of position to a flop with 150 in the middle, and we get a little something to work with, smashing the board. King, king, 3. I decide to take the low percent line here and check for some deception, but unfortunately it checks through. Turn card keeps it clean, it's a 4. I guess I go for value now, pick up the action and bet 60. There's 1 call, and 1 call. Final card incoming and doesn't change the board at all. It's a 5. I've still got trips. I go for a bet of 160. Our opponent says this.
I think I'm good, I got 6s.
I have a king. That's going to, in fact, be no good as we have 3 of a kind kings over 2 pair kings and 6s. So we're going to take down this pot, making the king-queen work out a little bit here. See what I'm next to here? That's right, the nuts. That's what we've got right now. Going all the way from the worst hand to the best hand, we've got aces in the big blind, facing a button straddle, a small blind limp. Time to raise it up. Let's make it 65 to go. Folds all the way around to the button straddler who calls, and then the small blind gets really creative. They back raise to 185. This is usually supposed to be the aces line, but we have aces this time. So it's either like a really weird bluff or, more likely, a big pocket pair that I can go to war with. I don't really want to give up the betting lead and let the button come into the pot for a cheaper price, so I 4-bet to 500. This button folds, and the small blind eventually makes their decision.
It's on camera, right?
It's on camera.
Fold.
You sicko. You sicko.
Come on, Shell.
You sicko.
Thank you.
I voted king, so
Yeah. All right, while we're getting gas, I'm gonna cover another hand here. We've been winning a lot of pots. And you know, right when you say that, that's when things change, right? So we've got ace jack here in middle position, and this table's been pretty deep. A lot of money in this table, so I'm picking bigger open sizes. We go to 50. We managed to isolate the button, who is the only older, wiser gentleman at the table. So, heads up, out of position, 100 into a flop that comes ace 8-5. We bet 50, they call. Turns a brick, we bet 80, they call. Okay, all right, sir. I'm starting to get the message. Now, the river really gets the gears turning as it's an offsuit king. I check, and our opponent just grabs a stack of greens and puts them in the middle. And that comes out to $150. Now, gosh, this is so weird. So I'm facing this bet, right? And I'm thinking, you know, this king on the river does block a combo of ace-king that this gentleman could have, which they're gonna have a lot of the time. All the draws really brick out, so I beat all the bluffs, and, you know, they could have ace-queen, but they could also have some worse aces. And, you know, I think from a balanced perspective, this very well just could be a call. But from the perspective of live 2-5 against a specific player, I think it may just be always wrong. I call, and ace-king is a good. Ace-king's very, ace-king good. All right, just made it back home from all the errands. Look at their balcony. It looks so nice with all the plants on it. Okay, last hand we're gonna talk about here, we've got ace-6 of diamonds on the button facing 2 limps. We limp behind, the small blind completes, and the big blind checks their options. So 5 ways in position, we get a pretty decent flop. King, queen, 8, 2 diamonds. There's an early position bet of 35, 2 calls, and I call with my flush draw. Turn card is really one I'm not excited to see. It's the queen of hearts. Somehow, checks all the way through, and I decide to check back. The river does improve our hand as it gives us top pair. Now, it checks the cutoff, who bets 50. I decide to call since we don't have kicker problems anymore. We got 2 pair, ace and the queens, and the king kicker. Folds back around, and I expected to be chopping quite a lot, but this is what he had to say. I really hope we're chopping.
Yeah, we're chopping.
Okay. Wait, no, we're not? What are you talking about? Get out of here. That's just king 4. Okay, we're here. Let's see where we are. Well, that's awkward.